Welcome to Bartelle's Money Talk. Do you want to travel? But guess what? Your bank account says you cannot travel. You want to stay until the end of this video. I have a travel hacking expert with me. He is going to tell you and me how we can travel for free. Tim, please introduce yourself. I'm so excited.
Teresa, thanks so much for having me. So my name is Tim Walker. I'm the owner of Travel Multiplier, and I live in Wilkes-Barre, Pennsylvania. So if you're a fan of The Office, I live just south of Scranton. Been here for 13 years now, married to my wife Heather for almost 10 years. I'm a girl dad. I've got two daughters. Lucy is 8, Emily is 6. There was a time in our family's life where we could never afford to travel, and now we've gone from being broke, burned out, stuck at home to now being able to have the freedom of free travel and traveling the world for free.
So you're saying you can really travel for free, because so many of us, including myself, my husband and I, if I put a little travel package together for us and I see the price tag, I'm like, okay, I can wait a little while longer. Yep. What made you decide to do this?
Yeah, so I think what you just described is a pretty common experience. Oftentimes, travel dreams are turned into a nightmare by the high cost that it often takes to go to nice places and do nice things. My family intentionally lives and works in the poorest community in our city, doing a lot of community development work, helping a lot of our friends out of homelessness, addiction, gangs, incarceration, prostitution, so many different things. And we have the privilege of being a part of so many different transformational stories in the lives of people. But as exciting as those stories were, it was equally exhausting that for many years, we just felt like we were crushed under the weight of compassion fatigue, where we really wanted to get away, but we barely made enough money to live on, didn't make enough money to travel. And so that sent me on a search for, how do I solve this annual problem that we seem to bump up against, where it feels like we got to beg, borrow, and barter just to get a vacation each and every year. And that's when I discovered Travel Hack, and that changed everything for us.
Whoa. And so how long have you been travel hacking?
Yeah, so I've been travel hacking. Well, I didn't realize it at the time, but I stumbled into travel hacking about 11 years ago. Didn't realize what it was and didn't know how to use it, but really have been doing it hardcore for about 3 years now and have been able to travel all over the place for free.
Well, I can't wait to hear this story. And so can you tell us exactly what is travel hacking?
Absolutely. So travel hacking is a strategic process of layering and leveraging credit card rewards for thousands of dollars in free travel each and every year. And despite what you might be thinking as a listener, there's no timeshare pitches, there's no bait and switch gimmicks, there's no budget off-season travel that you have to settle for. You're able to redeem those credit card points for thousands of dollars in free travel and go wherever you want, whenever you want to do it.
Well, that is amazing. So tell us, okay, if somebody is wanting to even just start travel hacking, I mean, where do they start?
Yeah, absolutely. So oftentimes, I would say there's really 3 key steps. Step 1 is figure out, where do you want to travel? Like, determine your travel goals. There's no one size fits all method for travel hacking. Some people prefer beaches. Some people prefer mountain cabins. Some people like resorts. Other people like house rentals or cruises. You can do all of it with travel hacking. So step 1, figure out what are your travel goals, and dream big, because what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to make sure that what you pursue aligns with your travel goals. If you're somebody who hates flying or is scared of flying, it makes no sense to earn airline points. But step 1, determine your travel goals. Step 2 would be sign up strategically for the right cards that align with your travel goals. Here's often the first card that I recommend every person sign up for. It's the Chase Sapphire Preferred card. So that card earns you Chase Ultimate Rewards points. And if you spend $5,000 on that card in your first 3 months, you earn 60,000 bonus points. So if you spend about $1,700 a month on gas, groceries, utilities, utilities, everyday expenses, all of that, you can earn 60,000 points right off the bat. Now, here's where it gets interesting. Most people would sign up for that card and they would add their spouse as an authorized user. That's what my wife and I did for years. Here's one of the travel hacks, though. You can actually double your points right off the bat. So if you sign up for the card, you earn that bonus. Then you refer your spouse to get the exact same card. You'll get a 10,000 point referral bonus. And then they'll earn 60,000 bonus points as well. So you can start your travel hacking journey with almost 150,000 points. And that's where step 3 comes in, to be able to maximize those rewards for free travel. And this is where most people mess up, because 150,000 points, you could cash that out for $1,500 in cash back. Now that's pretty significant. That's pretty lucrative and great. But what most people miss is travel points are worth significantly more in monetary value than what cash back is. So with that 150,000 points, you could take that and you could use that for a hotel right across the street from Universal Studios in Orlando, Florida, and get 2 weeks for free there with your family. You could go to an all-inclusive resort in Cancun, like my wife and I did. Retails for $1,500 a night, and you could get a long weekend there with that 150,000 points. You could get multiple round-trip domestic flights. You could even get lay-flat business class seats to fly internationally, because those 150,000 points are usually worth at least $3,000 in free travel, if not more. And that's just what happens by signing up for one card strategically and starting out in that way. So step 1, determine your travel goals. Step 2, sign up for a card that aligns with that. The Chase Sapphire Preferred would probably be a great start. And then step 3, maximize those points for maximum value and be able to take an incredible trip.
Well, I declare. So with you saying credit cards, so I'm just making me some notes, because I'm gonna want to run all this by my husband, because I'm like, I love free travel, but I've never done it before. Never ever. So on average, how many credit cards does someone need to do this?
Yeah, that's a great question. Oftentimes people hear this and they wrongly assume that they have to sign up for all kinds of different credit cards. And they go, I don't want to sign up or manage a million credit cards for a million points. The good news is you don't have to. The average person signs up for 2 to 3 credit cards that earn them over $5,000 to $6,000 in free travel. So those 2 to 3 cards, it's really about quality over quantity. So you want to sign up for the right cards. I teach people how to do that to maximize that value. And yeah, with that, just signing up strategically for 2 to 3 different cards, you could really travel anywhere in the world for free.
That is amazing. Okay, but what about the person that wants to travel for free, but then they are afraid that if they start using all these different cards, that they'll lose control and get into debt?
Yeah,
what do you say about
absolutely. So as a listener of your podcast, I know that you're a Dave Ramsey fan. Dave Ramsey is no fan of travel hacking. We all know that. Right. No, I'm quite familiar with Dave Ramsey. Love Dave Ramsey. Have benefited from him. We just have a slight disagreement with him on the whole credit card thing. So I would say that travel hacking absolutely has to be built off of a wise and responsible foundation. So oftentimes what I teach people with travel hacking is how to be able to do it in a responsible and measured way. So it's not about spending money you don't have, but the reality is all of us have to spend money each and every month for our everyday expenses. And when those expenses come, we have a choice. We're going to pay in cash. We're going to write a check. We're going to swipe a debit card. We're going to swipe a credit card. And so I encourage people, just use that credit card for your everyday expenses. Use it when you go to the grocery store. Use it when you go to pay your utilities. Use it to pay your monthly cell phone bill. Use it when you fill up your car with gas. All of those normal things that you're already spending money on. And if control is something you're worried about, don't use that credit card on Amazon. Be measured in that way. Yeah. So have some restraint in that way. But the reality is, you can set up that card to be paid on time and in full, auto pay every single month, so that I've never paid interest. I've never paid late fees. And I actually would agree with Dave Ramsey about cutting up credit cards if you overspend. So if you can handle it wisely and responsibly, that's great. But if you find yourself overspending, you're going to lose far more in paying interest and late fees than you gain in free travel. So I encourage people, use your credit card responsibly. And if you find yourself overspending on it, if you can't pay your balance on time and in full, well, go ahead and cut that credit card up, get all of your debt paid off, and then you can reset from there.
That sounds really, really good. And so I'm sure, because our listeners are pretty good, they're young, like 25 to 35. So once you get this new card and you get all these points, they're only going to give you those points once. So what happens after you use up all those points?
Absolutely. That's a great question. So one of the key principles is that not all points are created equal. And here's what I mean by that. There's over 90 different travel rewards credit cards on the market. And all of them have full-time marketing departments that are really good at their job, because their job is to convince you that their card is the best card. And sometimes that's true. And sometimes that is wildly false. So it's learning what points are the best points to get. And so I'll give you an example. My wife and I got a card that gave us 10% back on groceries, which was an incredible return rate. But not all points are created equal. So that 10% back that we got, those points were actually worth 5 cents a piece in travel rewards. So essentially, going to the grocery store, using that one card for our family's groceries, earned us 50% return every time we went to the grocery store. And so it's not just about the welcome bonus. That's helpful. That's 60,000 points or other points. But it's also about category bonuses. There are cards that give very generous category bonuses on things like groceries, gasoline, electronics, subscriptions, dining, all kinds of different things. And then you're able to earn those points on your everyday spending, and that adds up. So for instance, over the past year, we've been using that card. We earned 120,000 points, not from a welcome bonus, from a category bonus with our groceries. My wife and I took those 120,000 points, and we used those as a part of a trip where we got to go to a Cancun all-inclusive resort. We flew from Northeast America, where we live, where we don't really see the sun for about 7 months out of the year. It is cold and dreary. We wanted to escape the cold. So I think it was 15 degrees in the Northeast when I got on the plane. We got off the plane in Cancun, and I think it was 85 degrees and sunny that day. And we got to stay in an all-inclusive resort that retailed for $1,500 a night. Majority of that trip was paid for with those points that we got through swiping that one credit card every time we went to the grocery store.
Okay, typically, once you use your points up, based on your experience, about how long does it take for you to build those points up again to where you could possibly go on a free trip?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would say the average family earns 1 to 2 free trips per year through using those credit cards. And so there's a lot of variables to it in terms of spending habits, category bonuses, all kinds of different things like that. But the average family would earn 1 to 2 free trips per year. And again, part of it depends on your travel goals. Depends on where you want to go, what you want to do. You can find all kinds of incredible value with a number of different point systems.
Okay, so now the other thing that's like picking at my brain, I'm like, well, how do you do this? So you mentioned you need to figure out which card would work for your travel goals. How would someone go about researching a card to see if it matches what their travel goals are?
Yeah, absolutely. So that's exactly why I started my business, Travel Multiplier. Because when I got into this, I found that I made all the mistakes and I did all the wrong things. I mentioned I got my first travel rewards credit card 11 years ago, and I cashed out those points for gift cards and cash back, not realizing that those points could have taken me across the world for free. Then later on, I went and I got what I didn't know at the time was a really low-end hotel credit card, got a couple of free nights, and then never really earned any more points after that on that card. And so then when I got into it, I realized, wow, hold on, there's a whole system here that you can understand. So I spent all kinds of time like studying, researching, really mastering travel hacking for myself. Then I started just personally telling family and friends and coaching them through it. I often say that travel hacking is simple, but it does require strategy. So I started introducing some family and friends to my strategic approach that I had really honed over over time. And they often told me two things. Hey, Tim, this is really awesome. And number two, you should start a business and teach other people how to do this. And so that's where, for me, I started Travel Multiplier, where I offer online courses and coaching to be able to guide people on their travel hacking journeys to be able to really maximize that. So you could spend, all kinds of time scouring YouTube and Reddit and blogs and Google and all the stuff that I did. But the way I say it is, what I get to do with Travel Multiplier is I'll save you time, I'll save your points, I'll save your money, and most importantly, I'll save you from all the disastrous mistakes that I made and many other beginners often make as well.
And you know what? The company that you've created is absolutely brilliant. It has to be brilliant. Like, that's a $1 in a million idea, that what you came up with, the Travel Multiplier. And then we get to travel for free. So one of the things, so I'm glad that I found you. But then, we have myths about travel hacking. So tell us your biggest travel myth that you would like to just burst.
Absolutely. So we already covered a couple of them.
Okay.
Dave Ramsey's deposited plenty of myths about travel hacking in people.
Yes.
I'm giving Dave Ramsey a bad rap. I like Dave Ramsey. He's done some good stuff for me and others. Okay. But that is often a common myth that people in the financial space wrestle with. The second myth we talked about was, it's not about signing up for all kinds of different credit cards.
Okay.
Quality matters more than quantity. I would say the third myth that financially savvy listeners like yours are likely thinking about is credit score. We spend a lot of time building and maintaining really good credit scores. Right. And we don't want to squander that for free travel. So I'm completely on board with that. What's interesting about that myth is people often think that signing up for a new credit card will wreck your credit score. That's actually the opposite of what's true. Actually, signing up for a new credit card and managing it responsibly does not lessen your credit score over time. It actually grows it. So I've signed up for a number of different cards over the years. Obviously I'm doing this both personally and professionally. So I sign up for more cards than the average person. And so for me, I've gotten to the point where through all of the journey that I've been on, my credit score has never dipped below 720. And my credit score right now is at 799.
Whoa, you manage it really well.
Yes. And so it actually, getting into travel hacking has actually grown my credit score, not ruined it.
Well, that is amazing. So when you go on your trips, you are a family of 4. Because you are a girl dad of 2 girls.
Yes.
Does this include the family of 4 or just you and your wife?
Yeah, no, this is all of us. So we've been able to do all kinds of different trips. So my wife and I right now are looking at spending 2 weeks in Europe to celebrate our 10th wedding anniversary. For that, we're going to fly there and lay flat business class seats. We are going to stay at all kinds of European hotels and resorts. I totaled it all up. It's about a $25,000 trip that we're getting for free. That's the far end of the extreme spectrum of the potential of it. But it hasn't just been big trips like that or even couples trips like that. My kids have probably been on an airplane 9 times in the last 18 months.
Wow.
We've flown a pretty good bit.
Yes,
to be able to see family and friends and do all kinds of different things. We rented a 3-bedroom, 3-bathroom oceanfront beach condo in Virginia Beach this year for our family vacation. So we were right on the beach. The place retailed for $3,800 and we got it for free. So we got to do that for our family vacation. Looking ahead to my girls getting older, one of the things I've told them is, hey girls, when you turn 18 years old, dad will take you anywhere in the world you want to go for free. That's going to be my 18th birthday gift to you. So it's really cool to be able to engage it, not just as a person, not just as a couple, but as a family, and be able to see all the different things that we've been able to do.
That is so lovely. But I bet you someone has this question in their brain. So I'm going to ask it for them since I have my expert here.
Awesome.
So when you you do your airline tickets, you do your accommodations, and you're using this one card. How do you use the points? Do you go through the credit card? Are they with specific airlines? How does that work?
Yeah, so all of them are different, and that's where the strategic part is knowing what type of points there are. So I would say very quickly and basically, there are 4 main types of travel points. Number 1 is transferable points. Those are points you can earn with like Chase, American Express, Citi, Capital One, and you can transfer those to all kinds of different airline and hotel partners. Second are airline points. You can earn those on an airline card. Those can only be used for flights. You can earn hotel points. Those can be used for hotels miles. Actually, I teach people how to also use those for resorts. And house rentals, so you get to do that as well. Then there's also what they call fixed value points that you can book through a credit card's travel portal and typically get maybe like 1.25 cents per point value on those. That's not necessarily the best value at times, but you are able to stay in some unique places. I think my wife and I might stay in a European castle one night because I think we're going to book it through that travel portal because it's a non-chain location that we're going to be able to do.
Well, that is nice. And Tim, based on the information that you provided, I have to say, in order for someone to be able to learn how to do this, they are going to have to work with you or spend hours trying to figure it out, making many, many, many mistakes. So because of your depth of knowledge, I would highly recommend our listeners, if they want to travel for free, they need to be able to reach out to you so they can travel for free.
I'd be happy to help with any of that. You can check out my website, travelmultiplier.com. Feel free if you want to reach out personally. I love interacting with people. So shoot me an email, tim@travelmultiplier.com. One of the things, Teresa, you've been asking some great questions, and I appreciate that. I am a skeptic. So when I first encountered travel hacking, I just assumed it was too good to be true. But what I found is I was so desperate to solve my family travel issue that I was desperate enough to be willing to give it a try. And so if you go on my website, one of the things you'll find is I actually offer a free guide called The Skeptic's Guide to Travel Hacking. And on there, I walk through some of the most common myths that people often think. I walk through the actual answer to that. And then I also tell a story of one of my travel hacking course students or coaching clients who I've been able to help experience the exact opposite of that myth. I've had the privilege of working with dozens of individuals, couples, families to be able to help them unlock the secrets of free travel. So my travel hacking course is really simple. It's just on-demand content. It's about 3 hours of content broken down into 5 to 15-minute lessons. All of us are busy. And so I wanted to make the content bite-sized and accessible where you could really slide in a quick lesson at any point right on your mobile device, wherever you find yourself. But I also found that some people are not necessarily the course type. Some people are more of the just tell me what to do types.
Right.
And so for that, I offer personalized one-on-one travel hacking coaching where you don't have to learn the system at all. You can just rely on my expertise, and I'll always make sure you know what your next right step is.
You are an excellent, look, we have financial planners, but you are an excellent travel planner. So I want us to circle around and before we call it quits, I think we need to circle back around and get to the emotion. Like we get to live one time. And you shared your story. And we have so many people in the United States. They work hard every day. If they go on a trip, they get into debt. And when they come back, they have to pay for that trip. In my mind, you couldn't afford the trip. And that's a miserable way to live. So I want you to touch a little bit on the emotional aspect of being able to travel and travel for free. And when you get back, the travel is paid for. You can go and enjoy the travel.
Well, let me tell you the negative emotions that travel hacking shattered for me. There was a particular trip that completely broke me before I got into travel hacking. I mentioned that it felt like every year we had to beg, borrow, and barter just to get a vacation, which is really discouraging.
It is.
We work in a really high trauma community, engaged in all kinds of different things. And so we just really felt weighed down. And it felt like in order to afford vacation, we had to cut corners.
Oh, yeah.
So we're hopping on planes at midnight. We're staying at the beach in the off season after everything's shut down because that's the only time we could afford it. Well, one year someone offered our family 10 days in New Jersey, right on the ocean, 10 days at a beach house. And we were so excited until we got there. We showed up, and the place was literally mold-filled, mosquito-infested. It was disgusting. My wife and I walked into vacation pretty exhausted, and then we had to spend our first 2 days scrubbing this disgusting place that we had to stay in because we had no other options because we couldn't afford anything else. So we made the best of it. But I remember going back home from that trip so defeated, so discouraged. And I sat there going, you know what? I do not want my kids to grow up and go, hey, remember how dad always took us on crap vacations because we could never afford anything better? And at that point, I was like, I have to find something different. Now, on the other side of it, having found travel hacking, I'm not cutting corners. I'm not staying in budget, low quality places that aren't refreshing. I think we all, in order to make vacation affordable, have cut some corners and stayed in some less than desirable destinations.
Yes.
We're not doing this anymore. We are now staying at incredible places that are so refreshing. So my wife and I went on that trip to Cancun, and I literally ordered multiple filet mignons a night for dinner because that was included in the all-inclusive resort that we got for free. And I'm sitting there eating this amazing food that I could never afford to pay for on my own. And I'm going, this is amazing, because I know what it's like to not be able to travel.
Yes.
I know what it's like to cut corners and have vacations that aren't refreshing. But I came back from that trip so energized and so refreshed and so grateful, and I could be completely at peace because the other people that were around me at that resort spent $6,000 to $10,000 to be there. I didn't spend a penny. And so I got to go home and sleep well, knowing that I have no lingering debt. I don't have to pay for that trip for months to come. I got to go and enjoy a high quality vacation for a low cost option that I am so grateful I found in travel hacking.
Oh my, that was a great emotional circle back around. Thank you so much for sharing that story. Thank you. It was beautiful. And so now, can you tell the listeners one more time how they can find you?
Absolutely. TravelMultiplier.com is my website. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram as well. Feel free to reach out with an email, tim@TravelMultiplier.com. And I would love to help you experience the freedom of free travel.
Well, Tim, from Bartelle's Money Talk, I would like to say thank you so much for giving us this impactful information. Listeners, again, if you want to travel, but you can't travel because you can't afford it, or you living at these hotels or going to these hotels and you got to run from the roaches, you don't want to leave your suitcase open because you don't know what you're going to take home, please reach out to Tim. He's on here because we trust what he says. And so if you're okay with moving credit cards around, you're okay with that, please reach out to Tim so you can get on your next free vacation. Again, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you with our next episode.